Hello friends, I would like to share with you today from the Zohar of Behar, the Zohar, the main Kabbalistic text, and it's a very powerful story with the main message of changing, alternating our destiny. So the story is about these two travelers, but they're not traveling just in a regular city, they're not in New York, in Manhattan, they're actually in the desert. They're traveling in the desert, a place where food and water are not that easy to get. So they are traveling in the desert, and a third person approaches them. I'm reading the actual Aramaic, the original language of the Zohar. So a third person approaching them, and he's saying, Havuli mezona pita de Naama. I beg of you, please share with me some food, some water. It's for 2 days that I'm lost in the desert. I hardly ate anything or drank in the last couple of days. So literally, you are saving my life if you share with me some of your food, some of your water. One of the two travelers, after he listens to the story of that person in need, so one of them is taking his food. I mean, you can only imagine, maybe they are traveling on, using camels or horses in the desert. So one of them is getting off his, let's say, horse, and he takes a pik mezonah, he takes the food, he takes the water, and is sharing his food and his water with that person in need. And reminding you, they are in the desert. It's very powerful because we are not talking about a regular situation that you maybe approach or go into a gas station, a convenience store, a supermarket, and just refill. Yes, get your own water and your own food. They are in the desert. The other friend from the two travelers turns to his friend, the giver, the charitable person, and he says, don't be an idiot. Don't give your water and bread to that individual that just approached us a couple minutes ago, because this is not a regular situation. In a regular situation, he says, I will share my bread and water as well, but we are in the desert. So don't be so stupid to give your last bread and water, because later on, since the sun is very strong, it's a very hot day, we are in the desert, later on you're going to be fatigued, you're going to be exhausted, and if you are stupid enough to give your last bread and water to the third person, the one in need, later on, I'm not going to share with you my bread, my food, and my water. Obviously, he's trying to convince his friend to keep the food, to keep the water for a later time, because of the specific situation that they are in. The good guy, it's not even a question of good or bad, okay? But the giver, yes, the one that was giving his last bread and the water, he says to his friend, he says, Mata avid men mezona, dana didi achana. He says, don't worry. I don't trust or I don't lean on you to give me your bread and water later on. Dana didi achana amar le ume alai didach. I trust God. I trust God Almighty. I trust the Creator. He will feed me and water me even after I gave my last bread and water to the needy person. So this is a very powerful lesson. Every year when I'm coming to this reading, it's a little bit challenging, because I ask myself, if you're in a similar situation, that it's your last bread and water, will you give it to the person in need? And it's not a question even of being a good individual. It's how much I trust the Creator, how much I have certainty in God. So not only that he shares his bread and water, he gives it all away. Now all along there are two Kabbalists on top of this maybe little mountain, a hill, yeah, it's in the desert, and they are viewing the entire story that is taking place in some kind of a valley. How they could listen and hear from a distance, I don't know. Maybe they had this Steve Austin, if you remember, kind of vision and ability to hear from a distance. But it's not about those details, it's about the message. Now these two Kabbalists are saying one to each other, because they view this situation between these three individuals, and they are saying, probably there is a death decree. There is something terrible that was supposed to happen to that individual, the good person, the charitable individual, yes, the one that gave his last water and bread. And to save him, to alternate his destiny, the Creator sent him a person in need, so he can share with this person in need, and by that change his destiny, being saved. Surely enough, few hours later, the good guy, yes, the one that demonstrated in tremendous amount of trust and certainty in the light force of God. Of course, he was so tired, so fatigued, he fell asleep or actually fainted. In one of these spots, he found a tree and just dropped there from exhaustion again. And according to the story here, a snake came, yes, Tivsa b'shalovoi kaim kameh, some kind of a monstrous snake was about to bite him, and a different snake, serpent came and killed the first one. You find many of those stories in the Zohar about miracles of a snake, meaning some kind of chaos, some kind of misery, of pain, something tragic maybe, something of a very negative nature that is about to happen, and then another snake comes and kills the first snake. Making a long story short, his life were spared. Yes, he was saved by the bell. Saved by the bell. So a miracle is happening. Okay? And these two Kabbalists, of course, viewing the whole story, and they're quoting a verse from the Bible, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. In English, charity saves from death. So there are so many lessons from that story, and obviously it's about how being charitable in different situations. It can be, one can be charitable in so many ways. But the bottom line is that charitable actions, when maybe it's not that comfortable to be charitable, when we have to tap into a new level of trust, of certainty in what we can call God, yes? So the new level of certainty and trust, that kind of charity, that kind of being charitable, absolutely have the power to change our destiny, to shift something in the movie of our lives. By the way, if you have the Zohar, great. If not, so just take the lesson in, and it's in paragraph Nunchet 58, all the way to 62 in the Zohar of Behar. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, comments, please put it in the comment section down there. And if you didn't subscribe to this channel, if you liked it, please go ahead. And next message in the next week. Thank you so much. All the best.